That going here. Let me see here. Where are we? Thanks for all the fish. Let me see here. Patrick Blazik, Phil Meyer.
Hey,
Let me go to Gabnet and make sure let me go to live stream, and I think we're doing the TV thing now, so that's on. We don't have a picture on you yet, Patrick, but we have that wonderful picture of you literally having a broken nose and a black eye. So, oh, there you are. Now that's you without the black eye and without all of that. And,
But here,
and actually, I have to turn on my camera, don't I? So that
yeah,
you
we
people
can't
can
see
see
you.
me. And are you still in the hospital, David Hayjack?
I am home.
Bravo! Let's all give him a round of applause. And how are you feeling?
I feel like shit, but I'm glad I'm home.
You feel like shit, but you're glad you're home. Well, all of us, I think, would say that we're happier when we are home, even if we feel like shit. You know,
Yes.
because you're with your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so overall, you're healing up and everything, or
I'm healing up, yes.
yeah. I was thinking about it today. I couldn't believe they operated on you without any kind of, you know.
They just numb. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, to lie there for 4 hours while they're doing all this crap to you, you know?
he's Czechoslovakian. He's tough.
He,
He can
he's
he can take it.
he's tough. I see.
Yeah.
Boy, we have hardly any audience tonight. What is this? It's very light tonight. It's been light all day. I guess we're coming up on the end of summer, and people have better things to do than to listen to the programs here at Gabnet.
It gets darker as it gets later. That's right. May have been light all day, but
Yeah.
it'll be dark tonight.
Well, what I always found was we always had trouble with audience levels and callers and things like that when they went from daylight savings time to standard time in the reverse. Somehow it puts people off for about a week. You know, so anyway.
When push the clocks back? Is that in like September or October?
We push the clocks back in. When do we do it now?
Is it November? That's when it really gets dark. I remember.
You remember how it used to be short, and then it got the other way around. So I don't know.
No, I gotta Google it.
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. And let's see. We have Phil Myers here, and there's Patrick, and there's David. Oh, David, we actually have video on you now.
Yes.
And you don't even look like somebody who came out of the hospital. You know.
You should have seen my leg. I texted 2 pictures to Patrick. He can tell you.
I don't know if I want to see that. Would I get
No,
squeamed?
you don't want to see that. No.
Did it look worse than Patrick's fight picture?
well, actually, I got to tell you, what he did send me
Yeah.
looked pretty damn good, considering there was no infection, there's no inflammation. It
Right.
it looked like cotton balls, where it would obviously be gauze sticking
Yeah.
where the stitches are at. Overall, it looked very good. I would say, from a non-medical standpoint, for somebody who's had numerous surgeries, looked a-okay to me.
Yeah. So it did. In other words, I could look at them and not vomit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
If you would like, I can send them to you.
No, don't.
But for $9.95.
For $9.95, plus postage and handling.
Right.
Right.
Hey, didn't we have a question for Tony the other night?
You had a football question for me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we wanted to know. It was
Baseball. It was a
Major League Baseball.
That was a baseball question. Is baseball still broadcast on television, on a local channel?
Well, when the Yankees are on and the Mets, they're on 9 and 11 still, so I would
Oh,
imagine
really?
that's free.
Okay. Because Miranda was complaining that at least with the Dodgers, they don't broadcast it on any terrestrial broadcasting station.
What about?
I mean, they
would she
do
get it on
radio,
Game
they
of the
do-
Week, like on Fox.
Huh?
Or maybe she'd get it on Fox Game of the Week, unless they black her out.
But no, what she's talking about is in the here comes Miranda. She can ask the question. Hey, Miranda, what exactly was the point you were trying to make the other night? And then Tony, the sports fan, can tell us whether it's a problem here in New York.
Oh, it's just that the exclusive deal that the Dodgers signed with Sportsnet LA is preventing a lot of fans from actually being able to watch it. It used to be that we would be able to watch Dodger games on over-the-air broadcast channels, and over the years, they made deals with Fox, and so it shifted almost primarily to Fox Sports West or Fox Sports West 2. But there would be a couple of games over the air broadcast. But this season, there was an exclusive deal done with Sportsnet LA, and the deal was struck right around the time that the team was purchased, if I remember correctly. So it may not actually even be the current management that struck this deal.
Yeah.
But it's not available for quite a large number of fans, and it's absolutely just embarrassing.
Well, I'm surprised that Major League Baseball didn't jump in and say something about that, because here in New York, well, of course you have a radio coverage of it. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Because they sell the radio coverage like crazy. The television coverage. So you say here in New York, Tony, they do have 9 and 11 have the. I think it's 9.
They have like 30 or 40 something. I'm not sure exactly how many games, but they like Miranda. Do you have a superstation that do you get anything on superstations like a 9 or 11 by you or is everything exclusively on the sports channel? They sold all the rights to.
Well, what does she want to watch the Yankees or the Mets for? She wants to see the Dodgers.
Well, in LA, do they have like a channel 11 equivalent to it that picks up games?
No, not anymore.
No. She said the deal that the Dodgers made with Sportsnet was that they wouldn't appear on any regular TV station. So they must. Sportsnet must have paid.
And MLB TV is blocked out for residents within 50 miles of the stadium.
Oh, really?
So,
how about on the internet?
Yeah, there's no good option.
How about on the internet?
DirecTV.
How about on the internet?
No DirecTV. No, not on the internet. That's MLB TV.
Oh, wow.
There's no legal way for a crap ton of Dodgers fans to actually watch games without going to the stadium or going to a friend's house or a bar or, one of these privileged locations that actually has Sportsnet LA.
Wow.
So what cable system is it on then? Do you know that?
It's on Time Warner.
Oh, that's Jim Dolan, I think.
That's
right?
it.
No,
That's
it's
it.
not
Only on Time Warner.
It's not Jim Dolan.
Does he own Time Warner or
No. Jim Dolan owns. What does he own? Everything else. Everything else.
So Alex, the Dodgers are in. See, I'm a Giant fan in the National League, so I don't really like the Dodgers. I like Don Mattingly because he's an ex-Yankee.
You don't like the Dodgers?
Tony.
I like the Giants though.
You still got that Tommy Lasorda?
I know people.
Oh, I couldn't take it.
I'm sure you know them too. I know people in New York City who are still Dodger fans from the old days.
The Dodgers.
Huh?
They deserted New York. I heard my grandmother liked the Dodgers, Brooklyn Dodgers.
Hey, Tony, guess what?
What?
The Giants deserted New York too.
I know.
At the same time.
Mm-hmm.
How despised are the Giants? See, Alex likes the Giants in the East because he's from the area.
Well, no, see, the thing is that the story was here she goes. She's wearing her Dodgers.
Brooklyn, look.
Their Dodgers cap.
Did you see that though, Alex?
What?
Was that Phil?
Yeah.
Phil. What's Phil got?
Oh.
Showed us his Brooklyn Dodgers.
I got a
Wait a minute. Go get it again, Phil. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I brought out the hat.
What, are you afraid of wearing it? Those plugs don't work too well. Anyway, here we go. Oh, it's a Brooklyn Dodgers jersey.
Oh, it's a jersey. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. Because I had a friend, his name was Steve. He died a while back. And Steve literally loved the Dodgers when he was a kid. He was like the president of the Dodgers support group or whatever that was, and he was just like, and then all of a sudden he said that the day that broke his heart was the day the Dodgers left him, because it was like being deserted by your wife. It was like being dumped by a girlfriend. It was like your dog dying. Excuse me, Tony. It was just one. It was that.
Very true.
It was that wrenching to him.
It must have been tough.
Huh?
It had to be tough. I mean,
Yeah.
if the Yankees would have packed up and left New York, like they always used to, where they were rumoring when Steinbrenner was alive, he wanted, but just before he got the new stadium, it was always in the papers that if he doesn't get the stadium, he's going to pack him up and move him to Jersey. The Yankees would have moved to Jersey, Alex. I would not be a Yankee fan. I just root for the Giants then.
Would it be right to call them the New Jersey Yankees?
I mean, the Jets play in the Meadowlands, and they still have the. I can't consider them really, even though I'm a Jets
Oh, they still
fan,
call them the New York Jets, don't they?
they still do. I mean, that's a joke. They're playing in Jersey.
Well, that's because most of the mafia are all buried over there in the Meadowlands.
Well, they say true. Jimmy Hoffa's buried in there. No, they used to say that.
doubt it.
He's not buried
I
there.
always wondered if that was true. He's buried in Maryland.
But Miranda, why was it that the Dodgers decided to leave? Was it I think it was that the city wouldn't build them another stadium or something? Is that what the deal was?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember the core reasons,
Yeah.
but I do remember it did have something to do with Ebbets Field, and they were trying to get a new stadium, and I think it was related to that, but
Yeah,
off the top
yeah.
of my head, I can't say with absolute certainty.
But they moved to L.A., but they couldn't move to L.A. by themselves, so they convinced the Giants to go to San Francisco.
Oh, that's what happened?
Yeah, so because if they were just simply isolated on the West Coast, they probably would just be an afterthought to
They
baseball.
could have played the Seals.
They could have played the Seals. So what he did is he convinced the Giants to move to San Francisco, and then you kind of had at least two teams out on the West Coast that all these other teams had to travel to in order to.
Well, Alex, what about the Oakland Oaks?
Yeah, what about them?
Is that what's the Oakland Athletics today, or
No. The Oakland Oaks was again a farm team. Okay, it was a farm team, and if I'm not mistaken, also the Seals were a farm team. I think maybe for the Yankees. Who were they a farm team for? Anybody know?
I'm not sure. Wasn't DiMaggio on the Seals? So no.
Yeah, he
maybe
was
you're
on the
telling me.
Seals. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, he came out of the Seals. And then they moved the Oaks and they moved the Seals, I think, to somewhere else, and they maybe became something else. But you know, why would you have the Oakland Oaks playing when you had the A's there? Why would you have the Oakland Oaks, and why would you have the Seals if you've got the Giants? So but
Camera.
the thing was, I know I turned it back on. The thing I guess that always kind of hit me about the whole thing was that there was a loyalty that people had for the Dodgers, and that loyalty was based on the fact that not only did the Dodgers come from Brooklyn, and you had all those Brooklyn kids, but most of the players lived in Brooklyn. So you'd be walking down the street, and there'd be your favorite baseball player walking down the street, and you'd say hi, and he'd say hi back to you. And there was this real love affair between Brooklyn and the fans. And when they left, man, there were people who just didn't stop being Dodger fans, even though they were mad as hell. Well, look, I see somebody saying yes. Mark, you probably experienced a little of that, right?
Well, for years, my parents had no interest in baseball. They couldn't care less about it until HBO did that really great documentary a couple of years back, The Boys from Flatbush.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit tonight. You're having some trouble.
I'm having trouble. There's internet problems, so if it gets bad, then I'm just going to go offline. And for some reason, the Skype version on the iPhone is the worst piece of shit in the world, because I tried connecting that way, and I don't know what's going on.
I think maybe the problem you're having with that is that your iPhone is using your Wi-Fi in your apartment, so it's still coming on.
No LTE.
LTE, really? Wow.
Yeah, so something's
Why
going on
don't
there.
you try turning off your picture? Maybe your sound will be better. So just go back to your still, and yeah, now talk to us. No, it's still you still sound like you're being what's the thing they do with the singers?
Auto-tune?
Auto-tune. You sound
Auto-tune, yeah.
like auto-tune tonight. Yeah.
Try for the LTE, but it's
Are you? Boy, you're really breaking up. Are you on your iPhone? Is that what's happening?
I'm on my regular
Wow.
down.
I'll tell you. Why don't you hang up and try calling back in again?
I didn't think the iPhone allowed a picture on a multi.
I know it won't, but you know. Why don't we hang up on you and then we'll come and call back? Yeah, call back. Okay. Boy, we're having all we had some problems last night with our website. Both of them were down, but it was nothing to do with us. It had to do with GoDaddy. You know what I love about GoDaddy? Whenever I've had a problem with them, you'll like this, Miranda.
No, I won't.
Oh, okay.
It involves GoDaddy. I'm not going to like it.
I see you hate GoDaddy. I used some guys up in Canada for the longest time, and then when it got to the point where they couldn't understand what I was saying to them because they were all speaking French, I had to find somebody else quick, so I went to GoDaddy, right? Anyway, I called them up and I said the website's down, and he said, yeah, it's our fault. Now, usually you call places like that, and I never get it's our fault. I always get, oh, well, it may be some problem in your area, but we'll look into it. And so every time I've ever dealt with GoDaddy and there was something wrong and it was their problem, they said, hey, it's our fault. So I kind of like that about them.
That's good.
Yeah, you know. He said, don't worry, it'll be back up. It's nothing you're doing. You know, you're just fine. And within about, I think, a half hour during your show, it went back up again. But it was a mess there for a while. So anyway, David,
Yes, sir.
what kind of drugs you on right now?
Oh, same old stuff. Vicodin,
Yeah.
more Vicodin, and more Vicodin.
So what happens when the leg gets better and they don't want to give you the Vicodin anymore?
Oh, I mean, they will have to give me Vicodin for the next 2 months
Yeah.
because it feels like, like something inside of you is like pushing or squeezing sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to take 2. So
Yeah.
it's working for me very well.
Yeah. Now you're going to leave. You're going to go to Czechoslovakia when?
Last Sunday of the month. 31st.
Last Sunday of the month. So you're going to call
Yeah.
us from Czechoslovakia?
I'll do my best to call you. I would have to 4 o'clock a.m. to call you.
Yeah, well, go to sleep early and then we demand loyalty.
Well, I'll have to. I will have to explain my parents that I will wake them up at 4 o'clock and
Just
I
don't
will
yell.
call. Yeah.
Tell them you have a radio job back in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
they'll be
good
very
idea,
proud of you.
yeah.
Our son
They'll
is on
want to know what you're doing with the money.
No, I will tell them that the money goes for the healthcare in the United States.
Oh,
Very good.
and actually, it has gone to your health care in the United States. Anyway, where are we? By the way, we could use some more callers, folks. We still have, 3 more lines available?
Yes, we do.
So if you want to call, it's Gabnet Live. Are you getting ready for Doctor Who tomorrow, Miranda?
I already know he's on first.
What are
Wait,
you
what's on second?
What are you laughing about?
It's a new TV
Well,
show.
you know how and I'm sorry if I'm being a little too snarky on this one, but you know how in school teachers always say there's no such thing as a stupid question?
Yeah.
You just asked a stupid question. Come on. Of course I'm getting ready to see Doctor Who tomorrow.
Marjorie, put that on your list. Now, have you seen some of these black and white tapes that have been?
No, I refuse to watch those.
Yeah, I watch maybe like out of curiosity, like a minute worth, but I don't want to ruin it for myself. So but that guy,
knowing how things are crafted, how Stephen Moffat likes to play puppet master, and everything. I just feel like as a fan, give it time. The same point that Mark made on my show when I was just wanting Batman v Superman like instantly. He told me give them time to do it right. There's a reason why these are were released in black and white. These aren't the final versions.
Do you feel that somewhere along the line they really let them go? There goes Mark again. He's got real problems tonight. So please, folks, we need other callers as well.
God forbid you'd have to talk to me.
Oh yeah, you. You there, Mark? I want to make sure you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you sound better.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, you sound better. Anyway, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe they threw those out there to kind of whet everybody's palate. They're pretending like they didn't, but it's just a little. It's just a little too obvious. There wasn't one. There wasn't two. There have been 3 out there. 3 episodes.
I only know the 2.
What?
I only know the 2 episodes that are out there. Now there's 3.
There's a 3rd. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're out there, and I'm just wondering if they didn't just lob them out there as a way of kind of saying, hey, have fun with these, and tell your friends how Peter Capaldi looks, and talk it up. Yes, David.
Yes, I don't care about Doctor Who.
I didn't think you would.
I would like to ask everybody a question. The TV show.
About what?
About what is your favorite TV show of all time?
Oh,
Doctor Who.
Okay.
Well, if given the choice, I think I'd rather watch the Home Shopping Network than Doctor Who.
Oh,
No, I mean,
Phil,
really,
you are missing out on such a wonderful.
I tried to watch it and I couldn't take it.
Really?
Yes.
But you can't take Phil either.
He's learning.
By the way,
I'm an acquired taste.
Under right medication, I can take Phil.
Two Vicodin.
And what's interesting about Phil is I know why he doesn't like Doctor Who, because he bears a strange resemblance to a Dalek.
Ah, come on.
I think he looks like Jack Nicholson.
Something I gotta tell you about that, Miranda. Some people who I tried to turn on to Doctor Who immediately say that's it for me when they see a Dalek. They say it's a garbage can with a toilet plunger.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Immediately say that.
By the way, that's Jim, and turn down your audio of us, Jim. There we go. They always get turned off by the Daleks. Yes, Patrick.
I attempted to watch one episode of Doctor Who, and it was one where it was these little fat globules that were dancing.
Adipose!
Yes.
The adipose.
Oh my god, they're so cute!
And I took it off. Because there was some bitch that was looking in a window, and he was looking at her, and then...
Donna.
there was some bullshit going on, and then these fucking things were dancing, and I'm like,
Well, you see, the thing is, you
Okay,
came in.
You're missing 3 years worth of history leading up to that
Patrick,
moment.
you weren't watching Doctor Who. You were watching the Home Shopping Network.
No, he wasn't.
you're probably right, Phil.
No. You see, she's right. There were several years of lead up to that scene. Because she suddenly recognizes him and he recognizes her, and what are you doing here? And they're both trying to not let anybody know that they're in that space, right? And that's the comedy of it, and that was probably the funniest part of the show, right?
Oh, that's it's a fabulous scene because they get so caught up in what they're doing that everyone else is just like, oh, nice of you two to join us. We've been watching your little interaction the entire time.
By the way, the three of you can go fuck yourself for a moment. Let me talk to Miranda here. Speaking of which, I was always, when I heard Donna Noble was going to be the new companion, I had my doubts. And she turned out to be so terrific as an actress and as a character that she really made that whole show really come alive even more. Didn't you feel?
Donna actually wasn't my favorite of the companions, but I did enjoy her.
Who was your favorite companion? That'll be our question now. Not your favorite TV show, but your favorite companion. Phil?
I had it on mute. I've been coughing too much.
Yeah, your favorite companion on Doctor Who?
The Home Shopping Network.
Yeah, Patrick, your favorite companion on Doctor Who?
Whoever the prettiest bitch was.
Now we got to that would be. I think Billie Piper was pretty hot.
There, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I've never watched a Doctor Who.
Yeah,
I figured, you know.
How about you? How about you, Miranda? Who's your favorite?
Oh,
I thought Karen Gillan was. I thought Karen Gillan was terrific.
Between Rose and Martha.
Really?
Oh, I loved Martha.
I like Martha too, but I gotta say Karen Gillan.
Oh, she's fantastic.
She was fantastic. Yeah. They don't know what we're talking about. I love watching the screen here because they look like carp, but they're trying to breathe out of water.
Is Ray Donovan on that one?
What were you going to say, Patrick?
I'm watching the football game, so you can keep talking.
You're watching the football game.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers.
Really?
Yeah, I taped it. I don't know if they won or lost. I don't really care, but it's football. So.
Well, somebody look it up and see whether they won or lost so we can tell them and ruin the game for them.
Should I ruin it?
Nah. Let's ruin the game for me.
Oh, okay.
You got to know what year he recorded it.
Just because you know where it's going, it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the journey. So even though Patrick has seen, the first episode of season 4, like the football game, it's best enjoyed leading up to it, even though he now knows where it's going to go.
I'll tell you, we'll send you all the episodes and you can binge watch it. Do you have Netflix? Do you have Netflix? You can binge watch it.
Alex, I would rather take some medieval torture device and crush my knuckles and waterboard myself and maybe I don't know, set my eyes on fire or something.
Yeah.
Than to bother with Doctor Who.
But you only saw one episode. You're like my wife. My wife, I'll show her.
And I like her. You know what? She's a smart woman.
Well, I didn't say she wasn't. And even if I felt she wasn't, I ain't going to say it here. But no, but what she does is I'll show her 5 minutes of a show that I feel maybe she should get into. And after 5 minutes, she goes, I don't like that.
That's
it's not for me. And I go, but I'm trying to get her to watch The Strain because I think it really it's turned into a very good show. You wouldn't like it though, Miranda, because you got queasy in the flesh. This thing would just, because you get queasy with some stuff, right?
Some stuff. Oh, I just no stomach whatsoever.
So you're not really vampire stuff isn't good for you.
As long as it's very clear that it's fake and over the top and they're sparkling, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Dracula would be fine, but some big monster that's oozing blood and eating people alive and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I can't think of a vampire movie that I've seen that has set it off. But anything that's like really gory, or anything, I don't do zombie movies, stuff like that.
You don't do zombies. Well, zombies, I think I've had it with zombies. Okay, enough with zombies. Now you see, the thing is though, that with vampires, they can be there is the romantic vampire. True Blood are romantic vampires. Okay.
I'm really into zombies. Like I go to a lot of people's houses to measure for floor covering.
Yeah.
And I look and I say, is this house zombie proof or not? If zombies can get in there, I gotta let them know. You ride around, you look at houses, see whether they're zombie proof or not. Whether they get in.
I see.
Now, do you put that as a special no charge bonus on the invoice?
No, I just keep track. For future knowledge.
That way, when the zombie apocalypse,
right?
You know all the good houses to go to
when the zombie apocalypse.
And you have guns, Phil. During the zombie apocalypse, you and I, we're hanging out.
Hey, no extra charge.
By the way, if people call, they can actually be on TV tonight because we are broadcasting this over live stream as well, and you can see the lovely Miranda Janelle and the lovely Patrick Blazik and the Dalek-like Phil Meyer. And down here, let me bring him up to the top here.
He's Centauran.
Yes, he is. There is a little Centauran in there. By the way, that's David. That's David. He's just gotten out of the hospital. And there's Revelstoke Jim Browning, all the way up from Revelstoke, British Columbia. I got some messages from Max. It'd be nice if he'd call. What I like about Max is he'll laugh at my jokes. Where everybody else just stares at me and gives me. Well, Patrick kind of laughs, don't you, Patrick?
Yeah.
You find me amusing from time to time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always thought Phil was more Jadoon.
How does a Dalek is a hobbit?
No, a Dalek is a big metal trash can with a toilet plunger for an arm.
And a whisk.
Is it a whisk?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it and said, what's Dalek? It says it's how you describe a hobbit.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I never heard that.
There used to be a Dalek in the front lobby at Play.
Was there a Dalek?
Yeah. Outward appearance. How does one describe a hobbit? Dalek is what one would expect.
How did you spell it?
Dollic.
Oh, well, that's the reason why. Tell them how it's spelled.
Public school education.
Miranda.
What can I tell you?
It's Dalek.
Oh, fancy.
I get in here and it's more Doctor Who stuff. I don't know for Doctor.
Turn up your mic a little bit there, Phil. Yeah,
Wrong Meyer.
Phil. Wrong Meyer.
What are we?
Am I better now?
What is this, Miranda? We're surrounded by Doctor Who haters.
Excuse me, nobody asked me anything here.
Oh yeah.
Shut up.
All right.
Well, that's why I left last night at Miranda show. It's like, oh, Doctor Who. I can't tell you a thing about Doctor Who. It's not in my purview. And not that I'm against it, but it's just not in my realm of understanding.
Yeah, that Dalek says it's for Doctor Who series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And does it have a picture of them there?
Turtles.
Yeah. Okay. So, who was your favorite companion,
Miranda.
Jim?
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying to Jim, who was his favorite companion?
Actually, my favorite companion
The rest
is Della
of you can
Street,
smoke
but that's
if you
another
got
show.
them. What?
My favorite companion is Della Street, but that's another show. That's Perry Mason. But my favorite companion is Sarah Jane Smith. See, I've been watching Doctor Who in Canada for a long time.
Yeah.
Because the CBC would play the BBC stuff when I was growing up. So I've sort of gone through all those crappy, tinfoil and spray paint years to get to where we are now.
Hey,
and
Jim.
I really enjoyed Sarah Jane back when she was with the Fourth Doctor. But I guess modern companions.
If you didn't have single payer health care, you'd only have to have one doctor.
Why do you do this, Phil? Why?
Always trying to swing the conversation back to
Doctor Who Doctor A?
But here's the thing. Sarah Jane.
That was funny.
What I know her from is that she had her own series recently. Then
yeah, the Sarah Jane Adventures.
The actress, actually, she died.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Slattery.
Yeah.
Sladen.
Jim, are you just getting Perry Mason up there?
I'm this far from hanging up, Phil. I'm not.
I'm this close to coming across the screen and slapping him.
Oh, now you sound great.
Well, hopefully the signal will be better for now. But
no, you sound great now. Anyway, Mark, are you a Doctor Who fan?
Have been for years.
See, now we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see here. How about you, Tony?
I didn't watch it enough, I did like the.
Okay, come on.
Christopher. I don't know how to say his last name.
Eccleston.
Yes, I saw the first season and a little of the second one. I thought the first. What's David Tennant?
David Tennant.
I like both of those two. I like their shows, but I didn't see all the Tennant shows. But I thought they were really good.
Right about this time, Dan, David, Phil, and Patrick are suffering greatly.
Yes, I am very suffering.
Don't worry, we'll get to some politics in a few minutes.
And I do like the time travel story, how they do that. So.
Yeah. I love it when you play with time.
Yeah, I do like that myself too.
Who is Mark?
Yes.
Who was your favorite companion?
I actually, believe it or not, my favorite's Ace from Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah.
Really?
And because Sophie Huber, I've actually met her a couple of times and photographed her at a convention in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow. Well,
that was a whole adventure.
The thing is, I just never watched those old ones, and I picked up the Doctor when Christopher Eccleston played him. And when I saw that first episode, I said, I like this. They had somehow made it more accessible to me for some reason.
It's interesting because in those, the early years, in the late 70s and 80s, the strength was the writing and the acting, because when it came to production and special effects, it had negative number budget.
But I was amazed when I see those old ones how much they made with nothing. You know,
brilliant. I mean, in that respect. So
I mean, all the doctors, for those who are not familiar with Doctor Who, all the doctors, when they're no longer going to be playing the part, go through a thing called regeneration. And they become the same doctor, but in a different body. And that was invented as another way of being able to solve the problem of how do you change doctors. Just like we mentioned that the problem was solved about how do you make a time machine when you can't afford to make a time machine. Oh, there's that prop over there, that call box. We can just say there's a chameleon circuit and it got stuck.
That's how they came up with beaming up and down in Star Trek.
In fact, I saw a compendium of clips of the chameleon circuit started to work at one point for about a couple of episodes, and it would turn into like a chest of drawers and things like that. It was very British sense of humor, It was
a chest of drawers at one time during the Doctor number 6 years with Colin Baker. It was a big high boy looking French provincial looking thing.
Oh, you're talking about like a armoire.
Yeah, but it was actual drawers, and it was a big. It looked ugly.
Oh, And there is
his suit. So
yeah, that's the that's the Peter Davies, is it?
no, that's
it's Colin
Colin Baker.
Oh,
number
that's
6.
that's Colin Baker. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is
yeah,
the extended
yes.
edition of Geek Time. So.
Oh, you're hating on us, folks.
Well, here I'll tell you.
Yeah, in a second, Mark.
Oh,
Yeah.
My little Doctor Who experience that I had. I remember after seeing Star Wars and getting into stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had some people who told me about, Doctor Who's on late at night at PBS, and whenever you get a chance to watch it. And I think it was like Mark said, just the special effects, the negatory special effects just kind of threw me. And I'm sitting here kind of trying to get into like the old Tom Baker stuff, but I couldn't. And but now it's just there's so much other stuff I want to watch. It's like, I don't know if I want to try to get into it, but maybe I'd like it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I like sci-fi.
Well, I mean,
love Star Trek.
now it's the opposite of that economy, and now it is really. There's a lot of money poured into every episode.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive production.
Because, well,
yes, Mark.
And the funny thing is, I brought this up to one of my English actor friends. I was like, so, I asked, it's like, you guys must be doing really well from royalties. And they looked at me like I had a third eye. It's like, what are you talking about, royalties? And it's like, well, the show is picked up by a couple of hundred PBS stations. Nope, they got paid one flat rate for those shows. And, when I told them, it's like, do you know how how SAG works? Yeah,
well, let me put it this way. So that Phil would say this if he knew more of what you were talking about. Damn that socialism. Because really, I mean, that's the way it was. You went to work for the BBC, you did a show for them, and that was it. Royalties? Who ever heard of royalties?
Yeah, but
you
it's
were
funny
just happy to
because
be on the
it's like
BBC.
they were
Everything else
making
is unionized.
Huh?
they were making money on this, and it's like I think eventually someone at Anti-B woke up and realized, hey, people like this around the world.
Well, they took it off for like 10 years or something like that before they brought it back in the newer version. There was a movie that was made for Fox Television.
Paul McGann.
Yeah, Paul McGann, and the master was played by Eric Roberts, the bad guy. And they did it, and they attempted to do an American version, is what happened there. And that's why he was, the 9th Doctor, the 8th Doctor? 8th?
Yeah. He would be the 8th.
The 8th Doctor. And it's not, it's actually not bad, to tell you the damn truth. It just isn't full out Doctor Who. So when finally Russell T Davies convinced the BBC to do it in, I think it was 2004, they came back with a little more of a budget and a broader idea of what they were going to suddenly not make it a cheap Saturday afternoon TV show. But the BBC and British television, and television around the world, is a lot better than television is here. I mean, my wife and I were talking about it and saying, yeah, I mean, you have HBO and so on, so that gives us a slightly better. We just lost David. David, you can come back. We're going to talk politics in a few minutes, but what was I going to say? But that if you disqualify the cable outfits, okay, who are running on they're running on the British system basically. Do 13 episodes, do 8 episodes. And should we call? Oh, David literally lost his signal or something because he's so. We don't.
He might come back.
He may come back. Anyway, if you're feeling tired, David, we understand. But I just think that American television, in and of itself, is really, when are they going to get the message? And here's what I came up with today. I was thinking about writing an article about radio today. And in fact, it was going to be for the broadcasting business, and it was going to start off by saying, if you're wondering who ruined broadcasting, Just go to the mirror and look at that image, because the people in the broadcasting business today have been ruining broadcasting because
They'll pay for that.
because they refuse to come up with new ideas. They're the working. What's the word I'm looking for here? They're a perfect example of the old saying about true insanity is trying to do the same thing over and over again and getting the same result, and that's what television does. Oh, why isn't Idol working? Well, let's do more of what Idol was doing. Why isn't the networks? Why are they losing share? Oh, well, we got to get back and do more of those detective shows. And the same thing is true in talk radio, for instance. What's wrong with talk radio? Well, no, what we need to do. I saw somebody wrote what you need to do is appeal to a younger audience. Get younger talk show hosts. Yeah, that's the idea. It's the same. The young people won't listen to a talk show because it's a talk show. Come up with something else, And what's the point I'm trying to make? That the trouble with television in America is it just never tries to really come up with anything new. It never tries to redefine what it is. It just keeps doing it over and over again. Yes, Tony.
That's a good question. Because what I don't. When I was a kid, and I don't see anymore on regular TV. I remember in the late '70s, you used to have more miniseries and TV shows like Roots. You had Rich Man, Poor Man. I don't know if they were great movies, but you had movies that you don't see them making movies for regular TV anymore, do they? Or is it all going to like you used?
Well, I don't know that making movies for TV. In Britain, for instance, they will do a series like Sherlock, in which there are 3 episodes and they're an hour and a half apiece. Well, those are movies, really. We should be doing that.
Can't get enough of them.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Who do I go to first? There are 3 hands here. Jim, first of all.
Well, I just wanted to comment on your what you're saying about this chop and change of networks and everything, thinking they have to. Like, just for example, the closest example I can bring up is just yesterday, Discovery went and axed half of the entire on-air staff of Mythbusters. And they say that next year, so they got rid of the 3 younger people, Grant and Tori and Carrie, and they're just going to have the original 2 guys. And they say they're doing it in an effort to go back to the roots of the show. Well, who knows? Maybe it just got too expensive for them to have that many on-air people or something like that. But I mean, that's the other thing. It's just, ratings dip a little bit. Let's just change the hell out of the show and take everything away from.
I'll tell you though, there is a little good news in all of this, and Miranda may be happy to hear this. A show that was the lowest rated show ever on AMC, which is known for Mad Men and known for Walking Dead and so on. The lowest rated show they've ever had, which I liked it. I thought it was good. Halt and Catch Fire. Huh?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Halt and Catch Fire. We figured, well, that was the end of Halt and Catch Fire. They've renewed it, which it gave me a whole new positive feeling about television, that maybe somebody out there goes, maybe it takes more than 1 season for people to catch on to a show.
Well, they can do that on the cable channels, I think.
AMC has been making a lot of very, very interesting moves. They're willing to innovate. They're willing to try something new, and they're willing to give something a shot. If Halt and Catch Fire is the perfect example. It didn't catch on in the first season, but they're still going to give it a shot because they think that there's something innovative about it. They think that it's the right subject matter, and it's just yet to catch on. If only that could have been done with some of these other series that just got canceled way too soon.
I'll tell you, the network that cancels stuff way too soon is Starz.
And Fox.
Starz will give something 2 seasons and that's it. Then they give up on it. Fox.
Even less.
Huh?
What about the Oh, jeez. The
I was thinking of
Oh,
Firefly.
I was thinking Jeffrey Dean Morgan. What was the one that you liked, Alex? That we both liked, with Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Tony Houston in Miami, Magic City.
Magic City. Yeah.
And then the Frank Darabont one just recently in the 40s.
Oh God, what was the name of that? But it was like a gangster show.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that too. And then boom, it's gone.
Yeah. Phil.
Yeah.
You had your hand.
I'm just wondering if what I don't understand is this Generation Y and Generation X. They have different. They're not going to watch or listen to talk shows. They don't listen to radio. They don't even leave voice messages. And so, there's a whole group of people coming up that aren't into radio or even the kind of television programming that you're talking about.
It's not Generation X, but
well, you know something.
But you're X
look,
and
millennials.
Right? Yeah, it's Y. There's 20 somethings.
Look. There's a market out there for a lot of different age groups. I think that's one place they're making their mistake. What were you putting up there?
Be right back.
Be right back. Oh, yeah. Okay. Everybody has their own
Yoda.
signs. Yeah, she doesn't have a Yoda. She just.
I'm sure she does. She just doesn't display it.
Yeah. Show me your Yoda.
Or she's wearing a Pokemon shirt she got yesterday.
Yeah, but anyway, they always think about how do we get the young audience because they're the ones that buy the products. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm drinking Starbucks Frappuccino and I got a Diet Coke 1 and Coke Zero rather, and the fact is that the Coke Zero is a fairly new product. I'm not so wedded to all the other Coke products that I didn't go for this when it came out because it tasted really good. Are we going to program for nothing but children?
If we're dying off. I mean, our generation is retiring. They're not doing the things that they used to do, and the numbers aren't coming into it. The Generation Y is getting more numbers.
Phil, yeah. When in your life have you had the largest amount of expendable income?
Now.
Okay. And I would have to say up until being out of work, it was now. And I'm sure that, young people don't have the disposable income. All you can sell them is chewing gum and Coke.
No, they're all working for Twitter and Google.
But
they're the new millionaires.
They're not saving their money. They're spending it all.
Here's the thing, though. You've got a whole generation growing up on the Internet and being dragged over and seduced by the Internet, and they're never even going to listen to terrestrial broadcasting.
Ever, right.
And the only way that you could possibly bring them back, there is something I came up with, and I thought about it, and I said it's really something that the broadcast people have to do. They have to go to Congress. They have to use all their little lobby money and everything else and change the rules about broadcasting and loosen up what you can do on the air. In other words, you say a 4-letter word and you've got to pay a $350,000 fine? What a inhibited atmosphere that creates. I mean, allow them to have the same ability that somebody on the Internet has in their programming, and maybe you can bring them back. But what's stifling it is FCC rules and regulations. Go ahead. I notice Miranda giving me the "you're full of shit, Alex" sign. Go ahead.
No, the big problem is they would go to Congress, and then all of a sudden, everyone would get the idea, well, yeah, it should be made equal, so we're going to regulate the Internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't even get them to charge tax on the Internet.
Do you realize how much time and money we have spent regulating broadcasting to make sure they don't say a dirty word? I mean, how stupid, how juvenile, how childish.
I think you're missing something. If you would do that on this station, it would cost Patrick a fortune to say anything, right?
No, it would cost us a fortune after the
cancel
show.
my fucking show.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just
Patrick would owe you millions of dollars.
Yeah.
the fact is
But the
that
check's in the mail.
and I'm talking from a purely technological standpoint, and you're not listening. You're not I'm not somebody that's a luddite. I mean, I was doing internet broadcasting before anybody even considered that there was such a thing, right, Jim? We were doing broadcasting on the internet before anybody even thought you could do broadcasting on the internet. So I'm not a luddite where that's concerned. But I got to tell you something. There is nothing like a terrestrial signal for broadcasting. That one stream goes out to everybody, you know, and the sound is better. On FM it's pristine, you know.
Okay, but AM is so awful. AM, the sound quality is. I tried to listen to some AM radio the other day.
Dan, it wasn't
just,
when I was a kid. When I was a kid, that was all that was there, and AM sounded
well,
great.
Well, no, but that was only because you lowered your expectations of what good sound
there was
should
no
be.
FM.
No, it's
now
true.
Here,
It's like
know-
kids today.
Oh,
Wait a minute, let me
go
just
ahead.
say something quickly. It's like kids today. Their idea of what good sound is has been the expectations have been diminished because they're listening through the earphones, but they're listening to MP3. Now compare that to how a CD sounds, and by the way, compare that to how an analog disc used to sound. I mean, you used to have lows and highs and everything. You don't get that out of MP3s, but kids today have lowered their expectations of what they expect sound to sound like.
And they're listening to it through their little phone speakers and little tiny dinky speakers. And, you know, back in the old days, with big giant stereo speakers, you know, and you don't have that anymore.
Right.
Or even a Walkman.
Yeah. But, I mean, there is something about terrestrial signal that's very valuable and very good, especially the FM. Okay, where also you can have not only one signal, but several other sub-signals as well.
Why aren't programmers looking to the internet for content? If, for instance, a friend of mine deals with content, one of the on-air personalities needed to take a vacation or wanted to take a vacation, they made him do all sorts of announcements before they let him go so that his show could go on. Because they're so hungry for content. Why aren't they shopping the internet for content to put on terrestrial radio?
I have no idea.
That's a good question.
You know, I have no idea. Yes, Tony.
Can it be that some of the people that run these companies, I'm not going to say, I can say Sirius XM, that I don't want to sound like a snob, just don't know what the fuck they're doing when they have talent, or like Bill said, there's talent out there. They just can't see beyond. You know, maybe you're giving them too much credit. Maybe they're just not that smart to see actual talent in front of them, what to do with it.
Well, no, I think it goes something like this. I don't want to do something unusual or interesting because if it fails, then they're going to fire me.
Okay.
Okay. And really what you have to create is a culture of, you know, I would rather you try something and fail.
Yeah, I mean,
then you don't try something, and we got the same old crap, you know.
Is that what they just want to carbon copy everything and never have anything original?
Well,
like just say this and act this way.
Well, the problem is
don't show your true self.
They're afraid of getting fired.
That's what
and
it is.
you know, and when that kind of culture exists, you're never going to get anything new and different.
That's
you know,
not good.
I hate to tout our own horn here. But this is pretty different what we're doing. This is not what radio does with talk shows. It's a completely different concept, nothing like it's been done before. And so I got like 2 major articles on Talker's website, which goes out to all the broadcasting companies in the country. They read it every day. They saw the article. How many calls do you think I got? Not saying we want to hire you to do this for us, but just tell us more about what you're doing and how you do it. How many calls do you think I got?
2.
Zilch.
Zilch.
Well, they couldn't get through on GA Broadcaster.
Oh, I see. Zero. So what kind of atmosphere is there out there when you're working in that kind of intellectual vacuum? You know?
Right.
I mean, it also, a lot of it had to do with the deregulation of broadcasting by, dare I say it, Bill Clinton, who deregulated broadcasting so that people could own as many radio stations as they wanted to own. And so there wasn't as much competition in a given market. When you got Clear Channel owning 7, 8 stations in a market, it's not going to be as competitive as when they could only own one and everybody else only owned one, and then they all had to go on the air and try and beat each other up and get the highest ratings possible.
Are there any independent commercial radio stations anymore? I think they've all been gobbled up.
There are, I think, a few here and
NPR
there,
stations,
but
aren't they?
But it's a very kind of you don't want to even think about it. You know? It's very few.
Maybe
few.
we should find those stations and kind of target them via Twitter or something about what we're doing here. Maybe they'd be interested.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this would work on terrestrial radio. I mean, can you imagine this being broken up every at a Clear Channel station, broken up every 10 minutes by 7 minutes worth of commercials?
Yeah, right in the middle, we're talking about something. You have to go, we'll be right back.
And we'll be right back. And then 7 minutes later, we're back. And, of course, any momentum we've gained would be killed. So,
that's why I guess you need those 4-minute spots.
Well, no, I would have to go into a place and say, look, because of the format I have, I only want to take 2 breaks an hour. And you can run like probably 4 minutes worth of commercials in those 2 breaks. And you know what they do? They look at me like I was from outer space.
If anybody's serious, might do it, but that's about it.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is there, in television as well, there is this total lack of really trying anything new. A good example that I was given, I think it was Harlan Ellison said this. A futurist writer. He doesn't like to be called a sci-fi writer. Harlan Ellison said that no, maybe it wasn't Harlan Ellison. I think it was a TV producer. That's who it was, who said that. Although, remind me to tell you the Harlan Ellison story. But the guy said television is like Da Vinci, Michelangelo rather, paints the Mona Lisa. All right. Was it Michelangelo?
Da Vinci.
It was Da Vinci.
Yeah.
I was right the first time. Da Vinci Da Vinci paints the Mona Lisa. It's a big hit, right? So now everybody decides we're going to draw the Mona Lisa too. And that's television. One guy comes up with an idea, it works, everybody else tries the same exact idea. Only they're repainting the Mona Lisa. God, do I feel stupid that I forgot that Da Vinci did the Mona Lisa. Anyway, what's that noise?
It was a YouTube. I was looking up who did the unit Mona Lisa. Came up.
Yeah, no,
and I wasn't on mute.
It was Da Vinci. Huh? What were you going to say, Miranda?
Oh, I thought you were making a joke at first, saying
no.
Michelangelo painted.
I don't know.
The,
I've been punchy the last couple of days. I have no idea why.
I thought you were going to say that he basically stole it from someone else and then found a way to make money on it, and then everyone started. I thought that's where you were going.
No. Where the thing goes is that it's like if Da Vinci did the Mona Lisa, and then everybody else said, "Let's paint the Mona Lisa." It seems to be going pretty well, But the story that Harlan Ellison told me, and it kind of fits into this theme, is that he went into an agent's office, and the agent was had just gotten off the phone and couldn't stop laughing. And when he finally got his composure together, Ellison said, "What was that all about?" He said, "I just got off the phone with a guy who called me up. I know him. He's a fairly respected writer. And he said to me, I just came up with a great idea." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "I want to do a white version of The Wiz."
It's called The Wizard of Oz, right?
Yes, of course.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he said that was an absolutely true story. He wasn't lying about it. He said, and that's what's wrong with television. People come up with the idea, let's do a white version of The Wiz. That'd be a good idea. Let's see here. What else do we have? Patrick, anything political you want to talk about?
Not in particular.
There's
we still got ISIS going on. I saw the picture of the beheaded guy.
Did you actually look at the picture?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same one that you mentioned that Marjorie had seen.
Yeah.
And it's his head sitting on his back as he's laying in a prone position, which would be chest down.
On his back?
What's that?
They put it on his back?
Yeah, when they cut his head off, he must have fallen forward, and then they just cut his arms were handcuffed behind him, and they set the head kind of in the cradle where his hands are bound together, so as not to roll off. And then there.
Did you seek that picture out, or did you just manage to fall across it?
A friend of mine found it, and it was exactly what Marjorie, you said that she had described.
Yeah, yeah.
And I had seen other photographs of it, minus the area that showed the head, because all the photos that I had seen, they had boxes cutting off right at about his mid-back, which would be right about where his hands were lying in cuffs. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I was correct. You hack that head off with a knife like that. That's not a clean cut like with a sword. So the guy suffered plenty in the very short period that it took to kill him.
Well, you know, I just it's one of the few times I think all Americans although they did take a poll of Americans who say they still don't want us going into Iraq. But I don't think I think we could do this. Did we just lose you, Tony? Yeah, we lost him. He just hangs up. He never says goodbye.
Well, at least he didn't have his head in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. But that Americans still don't want to go in there. But I think no one would have anything against us doing airstrikes.
I would agree with that. I think it should be just strictly airstrike. Just send in some drones and be done with it. I mean,
what's going to happen when they're hiding amongst the people of Iraq and all the innocent women, children, and mosques that we strike to go after these guys are collateral damage? What do you think we'd say to that?
Well, I think we have to. Well, you answer that, Patrick.
Well, I think if we do it now, it's not going to be an issue later.
You don't think they're hiding amongst the Iraqi citizens, and the way that Hamas is in Gaza?
Actually, they're not.
I mean, you got fucking Syria wanting to go out after these people too.
Yeah.
You got Syria, you got Iran, you've got all of the people that you and I would still consider terrorists.
Who's supporting the ISIS if it isn't Iran and all of these people like the Saudis?
They've captured a couple of oil fields now. They've got some oil fields that are within their possession, and I would imagine that they're making money off of that.
Who's buying the oil?
Well, to begin with, to answer your question, Phil, I think you could probably go after these guys and get them a lot easier than in a lot of other situations. They're not hiding in people's homes. They are out there on the roads with their black flags and their caravans. You could literally wipe them out like a bunch of ants going down an ant trail.
Until the drones start flying, then they're going to run for cover.
They're going to run for cover. But the fact is that their army is so big that it's going to be very hard for them to hide. Okay? Here's what I heard today, which was kind of interesting. You know, they had a operation that went into Syria to try and free the captured journalists. But they had, by the time they got there, they had been moved. They met with no resistance and no complaints from the Syrian government. And so it is being supposed that actually we can probably go in there, go into Syria, fight them in Syria, which would be a better place than Iraq. And we won't be admonished by, the powers that be in Syria.
How come the Syrians just don't give them back? They're there. How come
but
they just don't go in and grab these guys and give them back?
Do you think they have control over these guys?
They got an army there.
Well, who's got? But you think
The
they
Syrians.
have control over these guys? Well, the Syrians are fighting themselves. That's what's happening there, and for them to turn around and
Yeah, the Syrians got enough going on, and I think that's part of the reason there was no dust-up between the United States and Syria with that operation. I mean, ISIS or ISIL or whatever the hell they're called, they're the extremists of the extremists, from what I can gather. And when you've got other terrorist organizations saying that these are really bad people, that's probably a good sign that they're not going to be able to hide anywhere effectively.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say effectively, comfortably, because I do believe that if they were to go into Iran and try to hide, I'm pretty sure that they would be kicking them out or fighting them themselves, because these people, they seem, and it's a bad thing to say, but they seem more like animals than anything that I've seen. Maybe Idi Amin or
there's one other thing that
Pol Pot, could be a good example.
Well, there's another thing they are that we, that gets mentioned quite often. They are very well organized. They have a lot of money behind them. They know how to use the internet. I mean, like this family of the kid the guy they killed, the family was getting emails from them saying what was going to happen to their kid. I mean,
They didn't get the money.
Yeah, they're very sophisticated. This is not, this is not even Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden is like, rocks and
Still in the video games, videotape.
Is rock throwing by comparison to these guys. They're very sophisticated and they have a lot of money behind them. But because they are so large, that makes them vulnerable. And I just after this thing that went on this week, I went, look, I don't want to see us getting into any wars anywhere. But if we're going to save people's lives by what we do, then that seems to be okay to me,
But the Iraqis welcomed these guys with open arms as they came in, because they were supporting the group that Saddam Hussein was from, rather than the other group that was leading, Maliki's group that was leading the.
You're talking about the Sunnis?
Yeah, the Sunnis, yes. Yeah. And now they're in there beheading people. So, was this a Trojan horse, the way they were welcomed?
No, I think that the country, Iraq, was in a perfect state and ready for this kind of thing to happen because there was no real strong government there. And the government that was there that was supposed to create a coalition between the Sunni and the Shia never did it. And that created a situation. No question about it. I noticed that David is back online again, but he's not calling us. So, David, maybe you want a little piece of the action here. So give us a call if you're listening. I just think that I'd like to see us actually even be tougher than we are. I think we're still being a little too diplomatic. And
a few months ago, everybody was saying we shouldn't have been in Iraq. There's no reason for us to be in there. It's their own country. They could do what they want. Why should we do it now?
Why should we do it now? Because I'm not saying we should be in there. I'm not saying we should have any boots on the ground. I'm saying we should use our
air support.
We should use our air power. We should use our drones. We can just pound those guys into hell.
How come every invasion I ever see is always followed?
Look,
now, the
let's
military
be-
experts,
let's be
it's always
honest about-
followed by boots on the ground.
Let me be honest. Let me be honest about this, and now
Yeah.
we can, and now we can probably bring Miranda into this as well. The war that we're going to see next won't have boots on the ground. It's going to be drones. It's going to be robots. It's going to be everything else but human beings. And you're going to have pieces of metal fighting each other.
Wasn't Iraq won several months of air?
Wait a minute. What are you saying, Miranda?
What in the hell is the point of having our robots fight their robots? I'm sorry, Alex.
Okay. And what's the point of war?
The country that can build more robots is going to win.
This is the nature of war. People are stupid about these things.
Does that mean Japan's going to take the world over?
No, I know what you're saying, and I realize what a stupid statement on the surface it sounds like, but we are going to come to that. When I hear about drones already, rather than feet on the ground, I'm saying to myself, okay, we're almost there.
I'm not a good tactician. I don't know anything about tactical warfare, but I do know that history seems to repeat itself, and why even the Israelis sent boots on the ground into Gaza after tons and tons of strikes, airstrikes, and now, and in the previous wars in Iraq, they first went in with tons of air power, and then for some reason they always have to send boots in. I don't understand why they do it, but they do it, and they do it every time. Don't they?
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's have Patrick give us an answer. Hello, Patrick.
Well, I may not be an expert, but it makes the most sense at this point. Even with technology we have, nothing can replace human intellect and human ability. And until that is honed with machine, you're never going to be able to have those little little idiosyncrasies that are human, that can make split-second decisions on whether or not something is correct to do or not correct to do, given a changing situation. I mean, you've got 4 guys running at you, and they're all firing at you. Your instinct is to take all of them out, but if you only have a pistol, you have to decide where you're going to place your shot.
But see, I know the tactic on that. That I do know.
Those drones are still piloted by humans on the ground.
You shoot the closest threat first. So why couldn't the machine do that? Why couldn't the machine say, this threat is closer, shoot this one first?
I don't think we have that yet. I mean, even look at the drones. As much as everybody's so, in love with these drones because they're unmanned, and they still have their limitations, because I think when you have a pilot in a plane, they're able to make better decisions than a kid sitting in Colorado or wherever they are flying these drones like a video game. I mean, I still say human intellect and human reflex is a lot better tactically than robots at this point. That's not to say it's not going to happen in the future, but I mean, right now we don't have the technology. We may think we do with computers, and I mean, we've got our entire lives stuck on phones now, but you can't run a war like that.
We were talking to Rob earlier tonight about Miranda and I. We were talking about traffic lights and how they could hack them so easily. Now, why couldn't they hack these drones that we're powering in Texas and they're flying over in Iraq? Why, if these guys are that sophisticated with the internet, why couldn't they just hack it and turn them back on us?
Well, I think that kind of hacking is a little more than knowing how to send an email or to put up a website. But Miranda,
sounds like the last season of 24.
Yeah,
or change traffic lights.
That's exactly what happened on 24.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that either.
That was the entire plot.
Well, how difficult would it be to hack these things, Miranda?
Oh, According to 24, it's pretty easy. You could just use a
No,
laptop.
no.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm not a hacker. I'm a business logic back-end developer.
I know that, but you also know
You read those hacker
technology,
magazines,
and
we
you
know.
know what is
She has to
possible and
say
not
that.
possible.
She's on public on the internet. She's hacking all the time.
I've been
I'm just
hacking all
kidding,
night.
man.
My interest in hacking pretty much died when I was 18 years old.
You mean when you decided you could actually use this thing for something real rather than just trying to make trouble?
No, when I was in college, I realized that I had amassed a certain amount of knowledge, and I knew how to use it to surface information, and something I didn't give any thought to. I just did something because just because I felt, I wanted to send someone a message, and I didn't consider the fact that what I was doing in that moment was creepy.
Can you change my grades?
No. But I was it's just because of the knowledge that I had. I knew what systems were in place. I knew where to look, and not once did I consider, that if someone had done it to me, how creeped out I would have been. And right then and there, I decided, I don't want to skirt things anymore. Even
With great power.
I never did anything serious. It's just no. It's not for me. Any interest I had in the topic died in that moment when I realized I was doing something creepy.
Those guys will cut off our heads without any provocation. You don't think that they worry about they don't worry about creepy stuff on the internet.
I think you took when I said that they were sophisticated into that they were also computer scientists, and they're not. But they know how to use these various forms of social media,
Some of them
of
might be.
emails.
They might find a computer scientist somewhere along the line.
They had a guy with an English accent cutting heads. They're recruiting from all over, I understand.
I read in a British periodical that he is part of a group of 3 guys who are all British that are part of this group, ISIL, and they refer to them as the Beatles.
Who's the 4th Beatle?
I don't know. We just lost Jim, by the way.
No, he's got to do his show.
Yeah, I know.
doesn't he?
We're losing people. We're losing people tonight because they get tired, or we're losing people tonight because they got a bad signal. I mean, we were almost up to a full house, and then it's come.
Now we're down to 5.
Mark, I died out like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened to me. But I wouldn't really go so far as to assuming it's going to be battle bots anytime soon, Alex. I mean,
no, but I'm saying, eventually we're going to find more and more mechanization of the wars we fight, I think.
Yeah, and automated systems will be making attacks. The only thing that actually makes sense is to have, to target your machines at people, at strategic targets, to do something to send a drone after a military installation or something like that, and then have an automated response, something like the Iron Curtain, and just have it fully automated, as a defensive measure while you're running your own offense.
The only
But if our enemy
but
does
having
that
bots
over
on
here,
the ground is
see, our enemy can actually do that over here. They could get a quadcopter. They could put some C4 on it, and about the size of a GoPro, and send it out and hit into a building. They have the capability of doing exactly that to us. For $1,000.
Yeah, and it's far more likely that something like that is going to happen from someone domestic. It'll be you know,
And probably they won't be.
And you probably just gave them the idea, Phil.
Well, they probably won't be.
I'm sure they
probably
thought of it.
won't be jihadists either. They'll probably be
no, that's what I'm
homegrown
talking about. It's probably
American-
going to be domestic
Well,
terrorism rather than.
You know, the number one bombing that we had in this country, of course, was 9/11. Was the World Trade Center. But the second biggest was the Oklahoma thing, and that was an American. He was a right winger.
Yep.
You know, and
He
then
was a sick
then,
guy.
Then another great bombing, if you remember correctly, was Eric Rudolph down at the Olympic Pavilion, having the bomb go off. I mean, most of these terrorists haven't even been jihadists.
So what happens once the jihadists infiltrate our country, which is their goal, and then start these attacks? They can be done so easily.
Everybody sleep good tonight. What?
They're never going to infiltrate the right wingers, the Timothy McVeighs and stuff like that, because they won't have anything to do
We're
with
too busy looking for guys who look swarthy. You know.
Yeah.
We're
We
not.
won't even know what they look like.
Mhm.
You know, because they'll look just like you and me.
Can I say something here?
Sure, Patrick.
All right, that goof that did the bombing with his brother in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Russian guys, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They did not look Middle Eastern. They didn't fit whatever a jihadist would look like. So I don't even know that jihad. To be honest, it seems a lot like jihadists are going to start getting confused with people that don't know the difference between communism and socialism, where terrorism is just terrorism, and it doesn't matter what the religious or the political aspects of it are. It just is, and whether or not they're Middle Eastern terrorists or they're domestic, whether they're Muslim, whether they're Christian or whatever, I think the technology is available to do it, like you said, Phil. To do a GoPro with some C4.
Well, I don't think you mean a GoPro. You mean one of those drones.
Like
that you can buy for $600.
quadcopter, and instead of having a GoPro on it, which weighs what, about a pound, you put a pound of C4 on it.
Yeah, but I like the idea of the GoPro, because then they can see what the hell they're doing. That makes the most sense.
Yeah, but then you're going to blow up a perfectly good $400
perfectly
GoPro.
good camera.
I think that is more realistic. You've got car bombs that go off, pipe bombs. You got all kinds of goofy shit. I don't think we need to worry about BattleBot just yet. I think we need to worry about just fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
And ISIS is a perfect example of it, that there is no real political gain for them. They don't have an end game other than just to kill.
Well, these guys are different even than Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda did have a political agenda, did have a religious fervor. These guys seem to lack all that. These guys just seem like they're out for power and gaining land. And
they want to own all the 7-Elevens in the U.S.
Why?
Why not? They're out for their power, and
they're welcome to them. You know what I saw? Because Matt Drudge is always trying to scare people, and his headline today was ISIS is planning on targeting Chicago. And I thought about that for a moment, and I went, if they attack Chicago, they're going to lose. Because the guys in Chicago beat the crap out of them.
Oh, yeah. They wouldn't last a minute in Chicago.
But supposedly the reason why they're thinking about Chicago is because it's where Obama is from.
So he's from Hawaii.
I'll bet you
I
they
thought
don't
it was
know
from
where
Kenya.
Chicago is.
What?
They don't know where Chicago is, those assholes. All they're concerned about is
they got a Sears catalog. They know.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of coming to a close. But by the way, I held up my GoPro camera here.
Very nice.
I'll tell you something. I've owned a lot of cameras in my time. This is the best, most fun camera I've ever owned in my life.
I saw, and this is one thing I miss about your TV show that you had last year, playing those GoPro videos.
Yeah.
And I subscribed to them on YouTube. There's these guys that are going down a ditch in a
it's
kayak.
Great. It's great.
It's nuts.
It's great.
Crazy.
All my life, I often wanted to have a camera that was planted in my head and could video everything in my life. If I wanted to turn it on, and you kind of got that with this. I got one thing that attaches to my head. So,
With Google Glass,
I'm getting one of those looks from Patrick. I guess it's time to go. What's the look for, Patrick?
I'll get a camera like that and do it while I'm taking a shit, and then I'll put it on
YouTube.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
No, I think you meant PooTube.
Bravo. She gets.
There we go.
She
Very
gets,
good.
She gets
Line of the night.
She shoots. She scores.
She's on the board.
Yeah, she's on the board. Hey, thanks to the people who are left here. Some we lost to bad connections, and others we lost because I think they got pooped. David, we enjoyed having you here for the time that you were here, and we're sorry we were talking about Doctor Who a lot. But Patrick, you stuck through it. Miranda, of course, stuck through it. Phil stuck through it. So did Dan. And also thanks to Jim, and thanks to Tony, and to all of you. Mark Thorner as well, who's really having trouble tonight connecting. We'll see you again on Monday, I guess. Have a nice weekend,
Good night.
everybody. Thank
Good
you.
night.
I'm Alex Bennett, and that's it. And as always, if you see her, tell her I love her.